Well, what's up, Menlo students? This is Brett here and my good friend, Trevor Bloom.
Hey, everyone. My name's Trevor Bloom. Good to virtually see you.
Yeah, if you don't know Trevor has been our Menlo Park student resident for the past 2 years, and he is a lover of people, a lover of the Bible, a lover of learning, and I'm excited that he's with us today as we have our first question and response time based on the new normal.
Yeah.
Trevor, are you going to be ready for this?
I hopefully I am. Most students I come in contact with always ask the best questions I've never would have thought of. And hopefully I'm ready for this. I'm excited for this. So
excellent. Well, the purpose of this whole summer is we're studying the book of Ephesians, Paul's letter to the church at Ephesus, in a series called New Normal. We called it that because Paul in this talks a lot about how because of Jesus, we are invited into a new life with Jesus. And we're just looking at what does this new life actually look like? You know, when we study the Bible together or when we study the Bible for ourselves, oftentimes we have questions because we hear words or we hear ideas that we don't quite know the answers to. And as a church, one of the cool things about the church and about Menlo Students is we're a community growing together. And so when we have questions, we can talk about that. That's why we have life groups. But we also want to take some time on YouTube each week to talk about some of y'all's questions together. And so that's what we're doing. And so Trevor, just to get us started, this is going to be a question, just a warm up. It has nothing to do with new normal. I want to know this, and you aren't prepped for this. So what is your ideal summer activity?
My ideal summer activity. There are so many. I'm a big beach fan. I love going to the beach during the summer and playing spike ball, frisbee, volleyball. I love all the sports and just hanging out at the beach. Yeah, I would say that's my favorite activity for the summer.
Solid. Mm-hmm. Well, now that we have that out of the way, you ready for some questions?
I hope so.
All right.
I'm interested to see the questions.
Our very first question, this came from week 1 of the study. Each week we're taking a chapter in Ephesians, and this student simply asked the question, how would you sum up the passage that we looked at during our programs? And the passage for last week was Ephesians 1, 7 through 10. And for our study through the new normal, we're reading the Message version, which the Message isn't necessarily a translation. It's more of a paraphrase or a summary using our own language to help us understand it a little bit better. And it says this, I'll read it for you, Trevor, so that you can be prepped. It says, because of the sacrifice of the Messiah, his blood poured out on the altar of the cross, we are a free people, free of penalties and punishments chalked up by all of our misdeeds, and not just barely free either. We are abundantly free. He thought of everything, provided for everything we could possibly need, letting us in on the plans he took such delight in making. He set it all out before us in Christ, a long-range plan in which everything would be brought together and summed up in him. Everything in the deepest heaven, everything on planet Earth. So that was our passage that we looked at together. Trevor, how would you sum that up?
How would I sum it up? I really love the passage because I think the first section does a really great job of covering the entire gospel, but a lot of it really just pointing out how there was something that separated human beings and God. And what Jesus did was he stepped in the middle of that. He took away the sin. He took away the thing that was hindering us. And now when we get to have new life in Jesus, it's something that unifies all people together because now we can have a personal relationship with the Lord. And what Jesus does is he steps into that, and we all get to know what that's like, no matter where we're from or our backgrounds. And it was this plan that was set hundreds of years ago to now. And so it's a cool verse of God's really big plan to bring all of humanity together to celebrate the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. So.
Yeah, it's so great. You know, we talk a lot about how sin divides us, and that's sin has infected our world, and how Jesus stepped into that. I love the language that this passage uses of abundantly free, of how our sin can make us feel kind of tied down because of guilt and shame and feeling like we are not worthy. But through Jesus's death on the cross and the gospel, like you're talking about, is Jesus steps into that. He offers us his forgiveness, his grace. And now we are free to live a life with Jesus. Such a cool passage and just idea with that. Well, Trevor, well done. Question number one, done. And I think it's important to reiterate, with all of these answers that we're giving, we are all on a journey together. And so we are constantly learning and growing. And so just continue to ask questions, and things that you heard Trevor say or me say, keep leaning into that. Let's grow together.
I like when I was a baby Christian growing up, I still in some ways am a baby Christian, meaning just learning a lot. We learn through asking questions. If we don't ask questions, we're not going to really get to know the answers. And just know that if you get an answer to a question, it's very normal to have more questions about it. So that's the whole part of this great journey. We get to walk in community in that. So,
well, Trevor, our second question, and we only have two this week, it comes from this week's study. We were looking at Ephesians chapter 2, verses 1 through 10. And this person asked the question, what does Jesus save us for? So this was coming from a question that we had in our guide together, but it's just more clarity around what exactly are we saved for? Like we talk a lot of times, we are saved from sin, we're saved from death, but what does he save us to be a part of or save us for? And what I think it comes out of is the later part of Ephesians 2, where Paul says this: God does both the making and the saving. He creates each of us by Christ Jesus to join him in the work he does, the good work he has gotten ready for us to do, work we had better be doing. So I think that's kind of the passage where this question comes, but would love to hear, what are your thoughts with that?
Yeah, thanks for reading that. I really like this question. I like it because it focuses, because I think so many times as Christians, we can focus on, okay, before and after, like, what do we do during, like, what am I supposed to do, God, in my day-to-day life? Because I know it's not always just playing video games or watching stuff on YouTube. Like, there has to be something more. And so I like the question.
Come on, it's summer.
I mean, I love those things too, but I can't spend my entire day, week doing that.
Okay. You have a point. Gotcha.
And I remember there was a certain part in the passage where it was saying, like, oh, if I was the main person, like, I would be going around bragging. I would definitely be that person too. Like I remember either a pastor or someone a lot smarter than me said this, and they were saying, like, you're not the main character, like in the movie. And it was so jarring to me of realizing, like, I'm not the protagonist in this journey of life. Like, we all play a certain part in making something together. Like, example, and Brett has some really cool paintings behind him too. I just want to point those out.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, but if I had to give an analogy, if we look at this canvas here, there's a lot of parts that go into it, right? There's different colors in here. There's the canvas itself. There are the birds. There's the moon. There's this wood here keeping it together. And so there's a lot of pieces that go into making a really beautiful work of art. Now, if you just had a blank canvas here, I mean, that's one piece, but what if you add another and another and another? And slowly this one piece just branches off into many different pieces, but it becomes one, and it becomes a really beautiful work of art. And like a different analogy I would put is like building a house. Like, we all play a part in building a house. And I guess like the return question to you would be like, what's your house? Like, what's the thing the Lord's calling you to work on? Maybe it's something in school. Maybe you have a really big passion in helping out the local church, or being like a team member on, like, in a community, or I don't know what it is for you, but I would encourage you to talk to your pastor, talk to, just like an adult, to help you find out, like, hey, what's my, like, objective? What's my kind of God project to work on during this time? Because you do play an important part, and a thing to remember is so do the people around you, and it's important to work together to create that beautiful piece of art, to create that house. So
yeah, I love that, Trevor. And I think you're really hitting on the good part of, like, Jesus invites us to play a part in what he is doing in the world. Like, the work that Jesus did on the cross with his death and resurrection, it invited us into a new way of life, and a life with Jesus. And that involves every single part of what we're doing, like our gifts, as you're saying, and all of that we can be part of God's kingdom and making a difference in the world around us. And so we're like saved for living out Jesus's love to our neighbors. Like I'm wearing my For the Bay hat. Not planning on doing product placement here, but it's about, we're talking about this because we want to be for our community because Jesus was for us and invites us to be in a part of a life with him. So that's good. It's a great painting. Do you paint that?
Amazon Prime.
Oh, Amazon. Solid.
Yeah.
So
I do not possess that gift. I have other gifts, just not painting. So
hey, that could be a summer activity for you to work on. So there you go.
Yeah, or sports. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Trevor, for just hopping on this call. And thank you to all the students for submitting questions. And again, we want to talk about your questions together. So continue as you're studying Ephesians. Text us questions. You can find the text number right beneath me and in the description as well. And we will continue growing together. Yeah,
thank you. I'll keep asking questions. And odds are someone else has the same question as you do. And one of you just needs to ask it first. So we're always really happy to answer your questions and happy to see you in the coming weeks. Yeah.
All right. See y'all.
See y'all. Have a good one. Bye, Brett.
See you, Trevor.